What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some match previews for you guys, and Tottenham match previews. The Premier League is back, and let's kick off the madness all over again. Spurs face Brentford. Tottenham are actually the first team back, 12:30 on Monday. Very much looking forward to it. How excited are you, Sim, that the Premier League is back? You buzzing?
I am buzzing. I can't wait for Spurs to get back in action. Look, since England...
tell me that on Monday at 3 o'clock.
Honestly, yeah, I'll be like, I'll be throwing them away after that time, I tell you, after a disappointing result. But look, since England have gone out of the World Cup, I feel like I've been watching, obviously the World Cup's been great, but there's nothing like the stress of a Tottenham game to get your blood going. So I can't wait for the Premier League to get back in action. I really believe that there's no reason why we can't have a good second half of the season, especially with a few additions. But would the players come back from the World Cup? Spurs is where my true heart is, so I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as we get invested in England and invested in the World Cup, there's nothing like the hustle and bustle of the Premier League. And I, for one, are always going to be club over country, and that's never going to be changing. But anyway, let's get into the match preview.
So
Brentford,
Kane as well, right?
Kane as well.
Club over country.
I wish.
Judging by that penalty.
But look, I think it's a massive game. Brentford away last season. It was one of the most dullest games that you could ever have envisaged. I mean, 0-0 in a very poor performance from Tottenham. But looking at the form of the two teams coming into it, first of all, before we look at the form's there on the table on the screen for you, but can you read too much into form, seeing as the break's been so long?
Yeah, I mean, I think form, probably goes out the window at this point after there's been 6 weeks. There's going to be a lot of dynamics, change, injuries, players come back for the World Cup. I don't think you can read too much into it. I think momentum definitely gets halted after when there's 6 weeks with the players apart. But I definitely think you can read into how good of a team they are. They're still the same team, and Brentford are always difficult to play against, especially at their home stadium. We've seen that enough times where big teams have failed to go there and win. They always give a good account of themselves. They're very hard to break down, very hard working, very organised. Thomas Frank's done a great job there, we have to say, ever since he's taken over. They always give a good game, and even teams like Liverpool and City, if they do win, it's by the odd goal, and a lot of the times they are dropping points. The last game they played, I know, was they played away, but they beat City, and deservedly so as well. 2-1 last time. Yeah. So this is going to be a very, very difficult game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
To win, anyway.
Let's bring up that form graphic again. When you're looking at it, obviously last 5 games for Brentford, they've only won 1 of them. Wow, I didn't realise that. True, only lost 1, 3 draws in there. Looking at Spurs is Jacqueline Hyde as always, 2 wins and 3 losses. In terms of how many we've scored, we're outscoring them, but we're also out-conceding them as well. 9-5 in the scoring, 11-8 in the conceding.
I mean, look at their home form.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's their home form. They're so strong at that Brentford Community Stadium, and away from home, sometimes we can be left wanting a little bit. So are you worried coming into this?
I am worried because they know they're going to be very settled and they know how they're going to play. I don't know how many players they had away for the World Cup as well, but I'd imagine probably not that many. I know Mbeumo played in the World Cup for, I think it was Cameroon. I think Norgard.
They had a couple of players for Denmark,
Was it Norgard or Jensen, or maybe both, played for Denmark?
They had 6 players on total going.
Raya, actually, he was in for Spain but didn't play. But I think by and large, most of their teams probably didn't go. Oh, they had Damsgaard, but he doesn't play much for Brentford anyway. So I think under Thomas Frank, they're very well drilled. They know their role, and I think it's going to be a very difficult game. We have to get that first goal, otherwise it's going to be very, very difficult to break them down. They're a very intense, strong team as well to play against. They can really get physical and get in your face, and it's very difficult to build up any sort of footballing moves. And that's what we rely on, playing out the back and looking for those fast transitions. And I think in this game, with the small pitch that is Brentford and that very, very compact, I do see it being very difficult to do that, to be honest. And I think we're going to have to rely heavily on set pieces in this game, in my opinion.
Well, we're not doing too badly at set pieces this season. I think we're the top goal scorers in set pieces, aren't we, this season?
So it's not a bad thing to rely on. I just think I really do see us struggling from open play in this game.
Like we did last season. Yeah. Exactly like we did last season.
Benefit is they won't have Eriksen.
Yeah. And he really pulled the strings against us last season, didn't he? He was sensational in that game. Another player who's who's gone really from strength to strength this season is Ivan Toney. I know he's got that gambling charge behind him as well. He's got until, I think, January to respond to that, so he'll definitely be playing in this game. But 10 goals, 2 assists. He is in our ones to watch. And who's that in the other ones to watch? Ben Mee, 2 goals and 1 assist.
And he's also been a very good signing, been a solid signing for Brentford at the back, but really helped shore up their defence. But yeah, Ivan Toney, there were big calls for him to go to the World Cup. He just missed out for Callum Wilson. Maybe it could easily be the case that betting charge cost him.
I think it was, yeah.
Because you could argue he's having a better season than Callum Wilson. He's really come on really leaps and bounds. He had a very good first season in the Premier League, and people were wondering if is it just like a one season wonder? Is he going to be consistent? But I think he's proven now that this level's for him for sure, and he's very unlucky to have missed out on a World Cup spot. But what's interesting me is he's like scored some free kicks, he's scored some lobs. He's not just scoring those predatory strikers
from the halfway line in a friendly as well.
Like he's showing like really good technical ability and ability beyond maybe a mid-table side and a mid-table striker. And I think he's going to be very, very sought after in this summer, whatever happens with Brentford, in my opinion. And he's going to be a real handful. And he's very physical, really good in the air, but as well, really good hold-up play, bringing players into play, and he's a great finisher as well, so he's going to be difficult to handle. But hopefully we'll have enough at the back. But without Romero, I think it could be quite difficult.
When you're looking at the past performances between us and Brentford, haven't conceded to them since they've come back in the Premier League. A 2-0 win at the Tottenham Stadium, 0-0 at Brentford that I alluded to before. These other results in January 21 and 2000s were back in the League Cup before they came into the Premier League. Why do they find it so difficult to score against us, Brentford?
It's only 2 games, but I just think we have. Look, they've both been under Conte. I think our defence, by and large, has been. Our defence by and large has been good under Conte, and I think it's going to be difficult for a team like Brentford to score goals against us. And I think we've defended well. We haven't conceded too many chances, but I don't know. I think it's more in a bit like how we're going to struggle in open play against them. They struggle in open play against us.
Yeah.
And I think we're in that way. They like to play back 3 as well, so we're quite evenly matched. And I think they usually play with a 2 up top, 3-5-2 kind of formation, and it's difficult for them to play through us.
Well, let's bring up that opposition lineup. I can't read it off the top of my head here, but I think is that Toney and Mbeumo up front. Yeah, Toney and Mbeumo up front with Henry on the left, Roerslev on the right, Onyeka, Janelt, Jensen in the middle with Pinnock, Zanka and Ben Mee at the back with David Raya in goal. How impressed have you been with David Raya, and would he be one that we should be looking at in terms of the Hugo successor?
Yeah, I have to say, I've been mightily impressed with him. When he first came to the Premier League, I thought this guy is pretty good, but I wasn't quite sure if he's just looking good because their newly promoted team, they face quite a lot of shots, or is this genuinely, is he actually, sometimes there are keepers that can come up from the Championship and they look good because they're facing a lot of shots, but it doesn't mean they're actually genuinely Premier League quality. But this guy is, I think he's really good, and I think he could easily be a keeper. I don't know about top 6 just yet, but definitely is Premier League standard. And look what he does for Spain. He gets called up into the Spain squad ahead of David De Gea because of how good he is with his feet. He's a really good ball-playing goalkeeper, and I think this guy is quality, and he's young as well. So would I want him as my Hugo replacement? I think he's under serious consideration. Would you
take him over Martinez?
I think I would. I think I like him more than Martinez. I think he actually might be a better keeper, and maybe once he gets a big move, he can prove it. I think Martinez has had a bigger platform right now than Raya. Raya's kind of gone under the radar because he's been at Brentford, but I actually think he's actually a top keeper. Raya, I like him a lot.
Yeah. And in terms of Spurs coming into this game, do you think that? How do you think we set up? And regardless of personnel, do you think we lump 3 in the middle, or do we stick to the 3-4-3?
I think we go 3-4-3. I think Conte's going to want those 3, Kulusevski, Son, and Kane back together as soon as possible. I think he prefers it to the 3-5-2, even though he argues sometimes we have less control in games in that formation. What we do have is a devastating front line that can make the difference at any point in the game, and I think he would sacrifice that. I think, especially in a game against Brentford where it's going to be very difficult to break him down, I think having that tool in your armory, that weapon of that front three, I think is our best chance of breaking them down. I think if we play the 3-5-2, I reckon it would be too much. We would struggle too much to create chances, and or especially lay a glove on Brentford going forward. I think our best chance is to play that 3-4-3, suffer a bit defensively, and we might struggle. We might concede a lot of set pieces and stuff, and even concede a bit of possession. But once we get the ball, especially if we do find some transitions, we're much more likely to hurt them in a 3-4-3 than a 3-5-2. So I think that's what he's going to go for.
Højbjerg, Bissouma.
And probably Højbjerg. Yeah, Højbjerg and Bissouma probably in the middle.
I'd like to see that, because I mean, like, Bissouma has been getting better and better as his kind of Tottenham tenure has worn on, and I think that we've seen really good levels of performance in him in the pre-season game, the mid-pre-season games, albeit against lesser opposition. Fair enough, but the things that we saw from Bissouma in those games, and maybe in his cameos leading up to these games, is what we want to see more of Bissouma. What we haven't seen him enough do it since he's broken into this team or got his minutes.
Yeah, I completely agree, and he's been showing more and more ever since he's breaking into the team and started to get more minutes. So hopefully he can show this confidence. I just think our defence has to be rock solid. Without Romero, it's going to be difficult. I think I'm probably thinking Sanchez, Dyer, and Longley will probably start in the back three.
I disagree. I think Davis is going to start.
I think
Davis has been back for a while now. I know Paul O'Keefe said about 10 days ago or 7 days ago that he's been in full training. So I suspect it's going to be Davis on the left, Dyer on the right, and Longley in the middle.
If that is the case, I'm more confident that we can keep it a lot tighter at the back, because I'm just worried a set piece or something can go against us, and then all of a sudden if we're chasing a game, you don't want to be chasing a game in this kind of situation, a very compact midfield of Brentford's. I think the best chance we have is Brentford at least coming out a bit at us, and then hopefully we can hit them on a transition going the other way. If they have something to hold on to, it's going to be mightily difficult to break them down.
We just need to get that first goal. I think if we get the first goal on Monday, I think we'll be okay. But as we saw last time we played at Brentford, the longer it goes at 0-0, the more Brentford can sit in their shape and frustrate us until the game ultimately ends up 0-0 or 1-0, or they nick a goal somewhere. So, look, it's going to be an interesting tactical battle at the Brentford Community Stadium on Monday. What score prediction are you going for?
I've gone for 1-0 Tottenham.
Ooh.
I really believe it's going to be one moment. I think it's going to be a really tight game. I really don't believe it's going to be a game full of chances. I think Brentford are going to press us high and stop us playing out the back. I think we're going to, when Brentford do have the ball, we're going to be able to sit deep and hopefully frustrate them and make sure Tony isn't getting too much in the game. And I think hopefully something from a set piece or one transition goes our way. And I think we should have the quality over Brentford to make it pay. So I've gone for 1-0, but I really think it's going to be a tight game.
Yeah, I've gone for 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, I've got a feeling we're going to drop points in this one. I mean, for me, the squad, I don't think is just settled just yet, with a lot of players coming back from the World Cup, injuries in there as well, which is going to be hurting us. I don't know who we're going to be playing in the wing-back slots. I know Perisic is back, but is he actually going to be...
I would put him in.
I would put him in as well, but is he going to be put in? I don't know. I mean, if he isn't put in, then who'd you put there? You got to put Doherty there probably, because Sessegnon, I don't think he's ready.
No, you have to put Doherty there.
So it's either Doherty or Perisic on the left, and then either
Doherty or Emerson on the right.
Doherty or Emerson on the right.
Yeah,
so
I would go Doherty and Perisic. Yeah,
that's probably what I would do. I would go that as well, but
because you need that set piece threat, it's so vital in this game, and I think Perisic is obviously the one that offers that.
And what also worries me, I know I've been saying that I think that Bissouma is going to have a much stronger start to the second half to the season, but with him coming in the double pivot with probably Højbjerg on Monday, we haven't seen him perform really well there in a double pivot from the start. So I'm worried about the midfield battle as well. So I've gone for 1-1. And also, we don't know, I mean, assume Kane's going to play, but we just don't know. I mean, everything's a bit up in the air at the moment.
I think he is. I think judging by what Conte's saying, he is. Judging by his Kane's actions, he is. So I think everything points to him playing, in my opinion.
So, I mean, with the lineup that we have available and have ready, it should be good enough to win this game.
And
but
when
I
you
just
look
don't
at
know
the
what
back
kind
three,
of mentality and stuff they're coming into this game.
You look at the back three, that is what we finished the World Cup with, just for the period of the World Cup with that back three.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, we were conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully it'll be manageable in this one.
Yeah, I'm worried that there's no Bentancur. That's a big worry for me because he was so good for us in that period and he was our best player, hands down. But look, hopefully we can go there and get the 3 points. If we do get the 3 points, it will set us up really nicely. Come back 3 points and then I think we've got an okay round of fixtures until we play Arsenal in the North London derby. So let's kickstart the season again. Let's get those 3 points. I'm not 100% entirely confident that we will get the 3 points, but let's hope we can. I'm going for 1-1 draw. Sim's going for a 1-0 win. I want to know your score predictions in the comment section below. But let's get into BetMate, the return of BetMate as well. We had so much fun during the World Cup on BetMate. Literally every single game, a lot of money was won. But BetMate is obviously a very fun to play fantasy gaming app where there is money to be made. This week is a completely free pot for Spurs against Brentford and there's £200 up for grabs. If you're a brand new user, do click the link in the description below and in the promo code, use the code WATTV10 for a free £10 for you to play with. But let's look at our teams. And for me, in goal, I've gone for David Raya. I think that he will make quite a number of saves during the game and hopefully, not hopefully, but maybe he could be in line for a clean sheet as well. It was 0-0 last season. In the defence, I've gone for Clement Longley and Ivan Perisic. If Ivan Perisic starts, I mean, there's his attacking threats and he's in line probably to make a couple of interceptions and tackles as well. Clement Longley, I think with his ball playing ability, he can easily do something in the attacking actions and defensively, hopefully with a few tackles and interceptions as well. In the midfield, I've gone for Bissouma and Kulusevski as my captain. So I think Dejan Kulusevski will be chomping at the bit to get back on the football pitch for Tottenham Hotspur, seeing as he wasn't at the World Cup. And I think he's definitely going to be getting an assist or a goal in this game. With Bissouma, I think he's going to be that busybody in the middle, trying to break up the Brentford attacks, break up the Brentford midfield with a lot of interceptions and tackles in there. And then up top, I've gone for Sonny and Kane, with Kane as my vice captain.
And for me, I've gone for, it says Hugo Lloris in goal. I'm going to change it to Fraser Forster because Lloris isn't going to start, confirmed by Conte. So I'm going to go Forster in goal. Matt Doherty goes into my team alongside Rico Henry. I think Doherty has looked sharp in the friendly games, and I think he will start. And I think he can get some attacking returns. And Rico Henry, I think, is going to make quite a few tackles at wing back and potentially could get an assist. So he's in my team. In midfield, Kulusevski captain because I think he's he can't wait to get back on the pitch, with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as my vice. I reckon he's going to make lots of tackles, interceptions, and potentially could get a return as well. And up front, Kane and Son, who need I say more with Kane and Son.
Absolutely. So, that is our teams for BetMate this week. Like I said, it's a completely free-to-play game this week for Tottenham against Brentford with £200 up for grabs. So go download the app, sign up and use our code as well, WATTV10, if you want a free £10 as well. But that is our match preview. We'll see you all very soon for the predicted lineup. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.